Hi, everybody. We want to welcome you into Coronavirus Inside the Arizona Numbers. It is a Tuesday, right, Garrett? It feels busy enough. We do have a lot of information to get to because some of the guidance and numbers are decreasing fast enough that there are some great changes happening in our community. And by great, I mean large. You can keep your own opinion on whether you like it or don't like it. But the vast changes that are happening is the guidance for businesses. Remember, we've had all these businesses apply to reopen, and it looks like, according to the Arizona Department of Health Services, and Garrett will be able to show you the numbers that support this, that on Thursday, Maricopa, Pima, and Pinal counties will all move into the moderate category for businesses. So once again, on Thursday, Maricopa, Pima, and Pinal counties look to be moving to that moderate category. Why is that important? Because that is the group where indoor gyms and fitness centers can open at 25% occupancy, indoor theaters and water parks and tubing at 50%. And then remember, the places that serve food, bars and restaurants that serve food, they can open at 50% capacity. So these are some, obviously outdoor dining is still encouraged in those cases, but that's some big changes coming up on Thursday. They do not need their application anymore, but they do need to sign a form that says that they attest to what is going to be happening inside their business, that they're going to work to keep you safe and that they're going to work to keep their staff safe as well. So Garrett, show us some of the numbers that support these changes happening once again on Thursday.
Absolutely. So we're going to head over to the ADHS dashboard. They have a dashboard specifically for counties and what status they're in. As you can see, this is the statewide dashboard right now, but we're going to touch on Maricopa County right here, and it will change the data to involve Maricopa County. So here you can see right now, community spread for Maricopa County is considered substantial. However, as you can see, this yellow bar line is the line that, let me see if I can get a little closer.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a little better? Yeah. So this yellow bar line is what has to be met in order to make it to the moderate status. Well, this COVID-like illness, the surveillance of the emergency departments, that's fine as far as both 2 weeks are in that status. You can see that July 26th, this 10.9% positive is the only reason as of right now that percent positivity is not in the substantial, and we already know that the week following that is 8.7, and we know additionally that the week after that is going to be even lower than 8.7. So we know that Maricopa will make this moderate status, which is 10% or lower, and we also know, based on the number of cases that we've seen in Maricopa County, we know that it is under this 77 cases per 100,000 individuals. And so we know that there's a decrease there. So we know just based off this data and what we see for this next week that's coming up, and there has been no major changes and no major increases since with this data as it's been put in, we know that Maricopa County will make moderate status. And we also know the same things for Pima County. As you can see, very similar situation, very high numbers for the week of July 26th. They make it for this week. It's even lower for the week after for cases per individual. They're already in moderate status here. They're already in minimal status for COVID-like illness surveillance in Pima County. So they're going to make it. And then Pinal County is in the same situation. You see they have a slight increase here for the week of July 26th, but they will be just fine here. A slight increase right there, but still with the number of cases we've had, very, as the AZDHS put, unless a major change happens in the next couple days, this county will also likely be in the yellow on Thursday. So, and of course, the reason they're highlighting this in their blog posts and they're talking about this is the vast majority. That's upwards to 90% of the population in Arizona come from those three counties.
So once again, for those of you hopping on here like this is happening on Thursday, it looks as if at this point, Maricopa, Pima, and Pinal County will be in that moderate category. Now remember, that is not meaning that these businesses can open up 100%. Indoor gyms and fitness centers at 25% in the moderate category, indoor theaters half filled with their mitigation requirements as well, and then the places that provide dine-in services at 50% occupancy as well. So be kind to the staff as you head out there. Be kind to everybody who's trying to manage those numbers for their particular business to work to keep everybody safe. They're also, as I mentioned, their application fee or their application form rather would not be necessary anymore, but they still need to sign that form that says that they are attesting. They are going to work to keep you safe. They're going to do these things to keep you safe and their staff safe when you are in their business. Okay, got a lot to get to in addition to that. Garrett, was there anything else you wanted to stay with on that page? And Margaret, we see your comment. Girl, I got you. We'll talk about that. Don't worry. Hang tight with me. And thanks for joining us again on here. We love when we see her name on there. So we'll get to that in just a minute. In the meantime, though, Garrett, with these businesses, so that officially is not going to come out till Thursday, which would also probably signal that we'll hear from the governor's office, or maybe even hear from the governor himself on Thursday to get a little more information on where we stand in that.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing, of course, is that at this point on Thursday, this means that Arizona will be de facto in the moderate status no matter what, because essentially you already have Coconino and Yavapai counties are both in the moderate status as of right now. So you have every major population center in Arizona, with the possible exception of, if you can call it a major population center, of Lake Havasu and Yuma. You have basically all of central Arizona going up Flagstaff, down to Prescott, down to Phoenix, and down to Tucson. All of these areas are going to be in the moderate status. So you're talking upwards, as I said, well over 90% of the population in Arizona is going to be within moderate status on Thursday.
Okay. Garrett, and we didn't talk about this, and I know it might be some digging to get to this site, but remember the site that shows us what the safety looks like for different sized groups based on the county. Yes. I'm gonna, if you can pull that up, I'm gonna give you a few minutes. I'll address a question or two on here as you pull that up. And I say that so you can remember to still take safety precautions as you are out and about. Mary is asking, what about the churches? Mary, the churches were not required to shut down. They could stay open. The places that went to an online broadcast of your mass or church services were to keep you safe. If they're still going to continue doing that, that is up to them. So if they were closed down, that is by choice to protect parishioners or other churchgoers. So I wanted to keep you updated on that. Deanna's asking about schools. Deanna, we will dig into all that in just a second. Hang tight with us here. We'll get to your question as well. Garrett, do you have that site form that shows the numbers so we can have everybody? As I always say on here, we're not here to make choices for your life and your health. You know that best, but we do want to provide you with the most information you can get so that you can make well-informed choices and decisions for you and your family about what feels safe to you at this point and what you choose to hold back from. So let's look at how these numbers look. Just at first glance, Garrett, this map looks so much better.
So this is, and I'm just seeing one of these. I just say Navajo Nation is in fact included in Arizona's numbers for the counties that it occurs in. So I'm just letting you know, Angel, that they are in there. So now we're going to go to this. This is the Georgia Tech risk assessment tool. This is basically, it's a statewide model, nationwide model for all of the counties. Basically what it's doing is it's saying, okay, if we have a group, an event size of 10 to 10,000, what is the likelihood that COVID-19 is present or has been present in somebody that is attending the event? So this is Arizona. I've set it to 10, the smallest group size right now, just to basically show you. Current risks are very low. Maricopa County, 13%. Pima County, 23%, Yavapai 10, Coconino 11. If we start moving this up, though, this number is going to change pretty dramatically. We're going to go to 25. And you can see now we're starting to get into a point where it believes that there is some risk. If you're in Gila County, for example, it now thinks that there's about a 55% chance in an event of 25 that someone is going to have or has had COVID. But still, mostly in the 20 to 30 range at an event of 25. We move to 50. And now we're getting into some serious numbers here. Gila County, 80. Maricopa County, 50%. Pinal County, almost 60. Pima County, 73%. Yuma County, 70%. Coconino, 43%. Now we're going to move to 100. And now, now we're getting into points where, like I said, now it's 75% chance. We're almost at the point where we're hitting 99% chance in some of these counties. Pima County is at 93% chance in an event of 100. And of course, as soon as I move this to 500, everything will be shifted to 99 plus. And you can see, with the exception of La Paz, which is a very, very tiny county, which is at 98%, and Greenlee, which is at less than 1%, because Greenlee, believe it or not, there's a chance of Greenlee in the next couple of weeks actually has a zero COVID infection, or at least confirmed infections. We're coming up on that unless they have another infection at some point. But here we are with the others. They're all at 99 plus at a group of 500 or more.
Yeah, so that's why you're not seeing large events. It's just not safe at this point. Remember, it was only about 10 days ago that we were reporting on different schools having parties. Alabama comes to mind, where there were larger parties on campus. And then yesterday we were just reporting 500 cases reported on campus there. So that is quite the shift, and you see how quickly things can change, and why tracking those kind of large get-togethers can be important if you're going to school at one of those places, or if you live in a community that has a larger university gathering, and why those safety precautions like masking are still so important. Okay, so
I saw Melinda made a point of saying, well, if they had it, then they wouldn't have spread it. And that's definitely a weakness of the model. I will concede that yes, there is, obviously this model is taking into consideration groups of people that are no longer infectious. So that, Melinda, you are not incorrect when you say that.
Yeah. She's saying, let the people decide. That's what we're doing here. We're trying to help you understand the data and let you decide what's safe for you. So now let's say if the gyms are open, does that feel safe for you and your family? That choice is up to you. We're just here to help you understand the numbers. So if there's a specific number you're looking for, we can help you find it, and we'll continue going through some of this information. So, and Garrett, I can't stress this enough. If something is open to 25%, remember, when you're headed over there, that doesn't mean you can walk right in. A lot of these gyms and places are asking for early reservations. I just read through what my gym would be requiring, and there's a lot of reserving early and reserving often in order to get into some of these classes. Dion just a moment ago asked about Yuma County, and let's see, we have 15 counties, and we were only able to mention 3 moving into the moderate category. So that leaves everybody else out farther. And now Chad's asking, what percentage is Yuma County at? Are we able to pull that up since we've had so many requests for Yuma County, Garrett?
On which sheet? I'm sorry.
For businesses, I'm assuming.
Yes.
I'm assuming that's what you were looking for in chat.
Sorry, I was distracted by something. My apologies.
That's okay. That's okay. We appreciate the last minute info coming in all the time too. I know my phone was ringing right into my computer yesterday as we were on, so I apologize for that.
Yuma's actually not pretty much at this point. Yuma's not really near a moderate status at this point. You can see the percent positive in Yuma. It was hit very hard. So you can see right now their percent positive at their lowest is 15. They have another 5 points to go there. They're still above the number of cases per 100,000 individuals. So it's going to be at least 2 weeks at this point before Yuma is recalculated into moderate, possibly more.
Okay, so of course we'll keep tracking all 15 counties as they work to get closer to have safer chances to opening up. Okay, got a lot to get to, everybody, today. So we'll talk more about that later if we have some more time. I want to move on to the other stuff, and the next item of business here is the schools. And yesterday, the Arizona Department of Health came out with some information about how schools will report any kind of cases or outbreaks within their school. They need to report it within 24 hours. This is going to be similar reporting to what they would do for measles or mumps. So they are on the clock to let people know, to let other students know. They do not have to let the whole district know. They have to let the school know. They have to let the state know. So we wanted to update you on that, because that just came out late last night. If you didn't catch our 10 o'clock news, you might not have heard that, but that is how it goes. If you have questions about how your school district, your child's school district, your grandchild's school district is going to be reporting so that you are in the know, you should contact them to ask them their specific protocol. It doesn't mean that others aren't going to go above and beyond. That's just the minimum of what is required for communication there at that level. So we wanted to keep you updated on that. Those numbers will also be updated on Thursday. Garrett, how do things look for schools? We will have that detailed drill down map on Thursday late. So it'll probably be after we join everybody on here, but it helps to look at neighborhoods and look at school districts and help you better understand what your particular neighborhood looks like. But that's going to come out late on Thursday. As far as those numbers go, though, Garrett, we're still looking at the same thing at this point. Or are we going to have several other places jumping in that same category of?
No, I think that schools have a slightly higher threshold to make. They have that 7% to go into the hybrid category and not the 10%. And so I think yesterday when we were looking at this, we kind of determined that there was no county right now that is going to be recalculated into the hybrid status model as of right now. We're still too far away. Here's Maricopa, at least 2 weeks at this point. Pinal, at least 2 weeks at this point. Pima, at least 2 weeks at this point. So again, here, this is Cochise County. They lost their status, so they're at least 2 weeks. Yavapai remains in the green at this point. I believe Yavapai is it Yavapai and Apache? Yes, Yavapai and Apache do make that. And someone did point out that, well, Apache, this is Navajo Nation territory. Well, this is true, but the Navajo Nation is reporting these information to the state. So this does include Navajo Nation numbers, which have been extremely good over the last several weeks. Yeah, so those are the two counties that are in the green or in the yellow, if you will, at this point.
They've taken massive mitigation strategies that we've been reporting on. 57-hour shutdowns on the weekends. So at about 8 or 9 o'clock on Friday night, they're shutting down until Monday, and they've done that for months to try to get those numbers, mitigate those numbers, and keep people safe. All right. Okay. So we covered how ADHS expects schools to be reporting everything. We talked about the businesses and how everything's going to change for 3 counties on Thursday. If you do want to see the list of who's been approved and denied, if you're planning on going somewhere in the next 48 hours, so that's of greater importance to you, that list of businesses is still over on abc15.com. We had 103 approvals so far, 202 denials. Again, that's if you're interested in those in the next 48 hours. Remember, they all have to sign that form, though, that is attesting what they're doing. Okay. All right, let's get to the numbers, Garrett. We have had so much to talk about, and we still do, but I want to go to that summary page today so we don't miss any of the new information coming in. As sadly as we could see, we were close to hitting that 200,000 mark for cases here in Arizona. It looks like we likely will be hitting it this week. Today did get a big boost in, unfortunately, getting us closer to that, Garrett. But you're saying some of that is coming from a larger data dump that came in today?
Yeah, so this is our numbers today. For anyone, like you said, we are very close to the 200,000 mark, 4,800 deaths, 21 new today, 859 cases, which is a larger amount that we've seen in a couple days now. We're still, I think, about 13 days. We're almost 2 weeks out of having a case day over 1,000, but this is pretty much the closest we've come for a while. However, this is off of only 5,000 tests, and when people look at this, they said, "Wow, this is like it's a 14% percent positive. This is huge compared to what we have." Well, what we did find out is that most of these cases, not most of them, 40% of these cases came in and were basically data entry catch up from the ADHS. In fact, they sent me an email just now. I'm going to actually read it. But these are not cases that are brand new. These are cases that have come in over, they were actually most of them from July.
I like how you say that. I'm going to actually read that. What you mean is
right now because she just sent this to me. So
yeah,
I was
no. I tease because it sounds like you just plan to instead of not reading it at all. We know what you mean. Don't worry, Garrett.
I'll read it.
Do you want to browse over it right now? I want to remind folks that the reason this is a great example. Today's numbers that have come out are an excellent example of why we don't judge the percent positive on day day-to-day numbers.
Yes.
So remember we talked about this early. People were asking me, but why are we waiting 2 weeks for these numbers to stabilize? This makes no sense. I don't want to wait 2 weeks. I get it. Nobody wants to wait 2 weeks, but today is a perfect example of why we don't judge day by day on the numbers, because of this great fluctuation. So let's say that your business was able to open at like 5% or 10%, pick any number below 14, because 14% is today's number. So if we went day to day, you'd have a business open one day and close the next day. Imagine trying to staff that or keep it open or track that. That would be a full-time job in addition to running your business. So that's why we look at a rolling average of these numbers, this rolling number that sort of smooths out any anomalies that are in there and it accounts for a day like today when this comes in at 14%. This is
yesterday because we had a massive dump from U of A positive tests. We had a under 5% daily percent positive of just the basic calculation. The day before we had a 3.1. However, today we had a 17%, and on August 20th we had a 10%, and August 18th we had a 16%. So yeah, there's a lot of backfilling going on, and basically making sure that these curves are correct and that every case is being counted properly, and it causes mass fluctuations in this data, and that's why we use the actual date, actual percent positive as published by the ADHS on their website, because we know that is specimen collected. That is the date the specimen is collected. Let me go to it really quick since I already have it pulled up.
That's okay. And Jessica Holt, I think that's answering your question. Let me know if it's not. She wrote, do we know why the data is showing only August 2nd when we're at August 25th? I think that answers your question, Jessica. That's what that is. Smoothing
yes,
it out.
they put a 12-day. They make sure they give it 12-day lag, so they make sure that the weeks, because as they're filling in this data, sometimes it takes 12, 13 days to fill in this data. Most often it does not, but it can take that long, and they want to make sure that the data on that is as hard as possible. It's not going to change, and the only way to do that is to put that lag in.
Yeah, so I hope that answers it. You know, as much of an anomaly as today is for the percent positive, I hope it better helps everybody understand why we don't just go day to day to day. So I know a lot of people are frustrated by that, and you just want to be open now, and we're so used to that quick lifestyle now. But that hopefully that sort of illustrates it, if you will.
And this is exactly why we're talking about the anticipation, because we know that once it recalculates to August 9th, we know that it's going to be at a 6%, because we've been watching this for some time. We know that this line, this 32,000, 33,000 tests, there's not going to be many more added on to this. So it's going to be at about a 6%. And right now we're cruising, and this is Maricopa County, cruising to a 5% positive for the next weekend. So, you know, that, and if you have a 6 and a 5, then at that point, then, you know, you're in the moderate status for school districts as well.
So Kimberly's asking, so did all these lagging coming in make things look better at the time? I hope I'm restating that correctly. So did all these lags coming in make things look better at the time?
No, there's not enough. So the curve is so large at this point that, I mean, let me see if I can pull it up really quick. I can show you what it does. It doesn't really make a dent on what the curve looks like. So I know some people are saying, oh, the data's been shifted. You know, they're intentionally manipulating data and putting it in so it makes it, you know, it didn't look as bad from the beginning. But realistically, when you look at the curve just visually, it makes almost no dent on what it looks like from back then, what was added today.
And Garrett, that's because we're at more than 1.4 million cases. So we have 1.4 million results already. So if you added 40 results in, it really doesn't, it's not even a blip on the 1.4 million. And
no, Daryl, the numbers are not all BS, but what they are is a collection of, we have to look at this not as a sort of a spreadsheet that's stamped in time and, you know, saying, oh, this is it, and we're done, we're moving on to the next day. This is a transactional database that is being worked on. So sometimes things have to be done back in the past, and they have to work on things. So you can't, it is not BS, but you can't think of it as like a flat spreadsheet. That's just not the way to think of it.
Okay. Let's see. I want to get to Giselle. Giselle writes, I just lost 5 family members in 1 week to this stupid virus. Giselle, I just want to take a moment, first of all, and thank you for spending time with us. through your grief this afternoon. I am so, so, so sorry for your loss. No one should lose anyone to COVID-19. I cannot imagine losing 5 family members to COVID. So as we talk about all of these numbers on here, and we can go through data points and data collection and numbers very quickly, we never, ever, ever cease to forget that more than 4,700, almost 4,800 Arizonans have lost their lives to this. And for those families, and my family knows one of those families, it is so very real. You know, they go on and the family that's left behind tries to pick up the pieces and live their life. And it is a devastating thing. And so I can't imagine losing 5 people. So I just want to take a moment and pause and say thank you for joining us. And I'm so sorry for your loss.
I do have the curve. I just want to show the curve briefly so everyone sees. So yeah. As you can see, these light blue, it's kind of hard to see, but the light blue is what was added today. And you can see it because of how it was added. It makes, I mean, these little tiny light blue specks make no difference to the curve as it's coming up and down. So what was added today, even though it causes the percent positive to shoot up, the daily percent positive, in all, when you look at it, it has not affected or impacted the direction of the curve in any way. Here's another look at it. You can see how the cases are added. This is about 43% that was added today. Most of the cases, though, were added sort of in the expected time frame, which is from August 16th on.
Okay, and that the overall rate of loss, it's so hard to even talk about this after we hear from somebody who's lost 5 family members. But for better understanding of the data, I do want to talk about when we saw sort of our peak in lives lost in Arizona. You had been plugging in the dates. Now, just because we hear of these deaths at a certain point does not mean it happened within the last 24 hours. What it often means is that it could have happened really at any place within this line of the pandemic that we've been tracking. So you're plugging it in date by date. That the highest date of death was sort of moving along as more numbers were plugged in. It seems like it's found its spot. It's rested in this curve, if you will. And is that in the beginning of July still?
Yes. Am I still on? Because my
okay.
I'm freezing sharing. It's freezing right now. So I'm not able to share it at this point. But yes, it was July 17th, and it was 95 deaths, and that has been the peak. It's remained the peak since for several weeks now at this point. And yeah, it hasn't really changed.
Yeah. Bridget writes, can we post that address on ABC 15 so we see which businesses have received clearance to open? We have all of them listed on ABC 15. Producer Josh, are you able to reply to Bridget's comment for her so that she can get that exact address? He's putting it up there for you, Bridget. It'll be posted in the comments too. Once again, 103 approvals, 202 denials. And then remember, things sort of change on Thursday for a handful of counties. Let me read them to you. Maricopa, Pima, and Pinal County. So thank you for that question. Let's see. Okay, we got to get to a topic that Margaret was asking about earlier, that a lot of people were talking about. Margaret, thanks for hanging with us. You're so patient. By the way, I read your DM. I'll get back to you on that as well. I'm just behind on getting so many emails and questions from people. So I will get back to you on that. In the meantime, Garrett, there was a story yesterday that got a lot of people upset. Because they were hearing different ways that different counties are choosing to read the number and implement the data. So what their concern is that when you have a death, and remember, on a death certificate, there can be several lines that are filled in. You could have acute respiratory failure, you could have pneumonia, and you could have COVID. You could put all 3 of those things plugged in on there. And when we heard from the county said something that everyone went, what? And this may apply to a very, 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 very small number of people. But what Maricopa County said was that, I can let you say it so you can say it exactly, but Maricopa County is tracking a COVID death as a COVID death, no matter what specifically caused it, if it's within 60 days. And that is not how the state is tracking it.
So our understanding right now is based on Maricopa, a conversation we had with them after a press conference, is that if someone tests positive for COVID-19 with a valid PCR test and then subsequently dies, then they would be considered a COVID-19 death at this point. This is such a complex situation, so we're trying to figure out exactly if that's exactly what they mean, or if there has to be viral presence in them. But because I've heard sort of competing theories on that, is if there's no viral presence, it still wouldn't be counted. But that's what Maricopa County told us. Pima County and the AZDHS has both told us differently. AZDHS has said that, for example, in the situation of the hypothetical of a motorcyclist who tested positive for COVID-19 and then subsequently died, in Pima County, that person would not be counted as a COVID death. And AZDHS said that they do not count that as a COVID death either. However, data does flow into the AZDHS. So if Maricopa County is counting those, then those deaths in Maricopa County could be potentially COVID-19 deaths.
And at this point, do we know if anybody falls into that category? So if we're thinking of someone with COVID, they're supposed to be at home quarantining. The numbers of people with COVID lower, and then it would lower it based on the number of people who are quarantining, not driving around, and then lower based on the number of people who actually got into a crash, and then lower for someone who actually dies in that crash. So do we even know if this even applies to any case out there? They haven't given us any indication of that.
No, they gave a very blanket statement. So like what Margaret is saying, if you test positive, then commit suicide, is it counted to COVID? As of right now, our understanding of that would be yes, based on what they said.
Yes, in Maricopa County.
Yes, in Maricopa County, no in Pima County, and no if it comes to the AZDHS. But that's what Maricopa County has said to us right now, and we'll always accept some clarification from them. But as it stands right now, that's what they're saying. Yeah. So and of course this does cause some confusion, obviously, because then people will presume that sort of the COVID-19 death numbers are inflated. What I can tell you is, and I've got this ready to go here to talk about. We did some, Will Humble, who's the former AZDHS director, and we did this story too. I did this with a reporter for us as well, but did a estimate on the mortality rates in Arizona. You can see this is a white paper, so I'm going to go through it very quickly. This is showing that they expect about a 1.7% population increase. These are the death rates per 100,000 in Arizona. And you can see in 2000, you can see this sort of this curve of starting at 77 and then going down to about 65. This is sort of the flu season. And, there's some higher numbers, some lower numbers, but nothing like what you see from June to July and July to 2020, from 2019 to 2020. You can see substantial increases, 35%, 57% year over year when you adjust for population increase. That means that no matter what, the fact of the matter is there have been substantially more deaths in Arizona this year than there was in the year prior. No matter how they've been classified, this is what we know right now. And as Margaret said, I do not know in Maricopa County. We do not have numbers, and unfortunately, all of those kind of things come out in a year or two. So in that suicide, as suicide county as COVID, we wouldn't know that for at least a year, because it takes that long to get that data out to us. Here's the graph, just so you can see. Here's all the average, all the dates and how they line up, and then 2020 and how it just shoots up. So you can see, no matter what, the sad fact is that the death rate in Arizona has increased, at least right now for this month. We know it's going to go down from here because we know that our deaths in August are down, but this is where we are right now.
This map alone, I think, is one of the most incredible graphs of how things have changed year to year. Is there a place where folks can find that, or is that ours internally?
This is actually Will Humble's. If you go to his blog, this is on his blog, and I know producer Josh is like, "What the heck is the URL for that?" And I'll see if I can find it for you. But yeah, this is not our internal. This is something I pulled off of his blog.
Yeah, Margaret writes, so much death and suffering, so sad. It really is. I mean, a loss is a loss no matter what. If you've lost someone you love dearly, and there's a question that remains still around the death, I think at some point in that healing, in that grief process, you get to the point where you're like, even if I know what is the cause at this point, it doesn't bring them back, and that's such a tough spot in the path of grief to go through. But no matter what, here we're seeing this increase in numbers, and it's something that we will wait for more answers on. And you know, the heat, obviously that is a huge issue. I think people would be surprised to hear how many deaths are considered heat related, and how much investigation goes into them, and how late that report comes out in the year. It's incredible. And you know, they put together reports for a lot of things too. I mean, in one of these conversations over the summer, we talked about what someone asked us, what will we talk about after coronavirus, you know, and drownings was a point of focus for my reporting for many years. And that is because in this information, when you dive into it, you can really learn a lot more about how to protect yourself and how to protect your family with any of these cases, like we talked about with the drownings, or when it's coronavirus, and we can look back on these numbers years and years out. We'll be able to learn so much more about this. Let's see. Oh, thank you for all the comments coming in. You guys are so sweet. I hope that this helps you better understand some of the information that's coming out of the state, and I really hope it helps you understand where you can find it on your own. We're here with you Monday through Friday to help you find this info, but I know some people on the weekends are looking for stuff. And Garrett, they go to your Twitter account, and I know that we've been able to help a lot of people find this information on their own as well. We've gotten some really nice emails and comments in, so I appreciate that you take the time to write that. And I thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Margaret. And I just
and I see
the time to share what works for you.
And I just wanted to highlight Sophia Liu's comment, and that is absolutely true. None of this changes what Sophia Liu is talking about. A medical doctor has to sign off on a death when it happens in a hospital. If it's not COVID, a person will not be, they will not, a medical doctor, an attendant physician is not going to mark down COVID-19 on a death, even if it's a trauma death and someone had COVID-19. What happens is it's in surveillance. This could occur during surveillance. So if they're checking on the medical record of a person, and this person is a deceased person, and they had a PCR positive test, it could be in Maricopa County flagged as a COVID death because it went through surveillance. But as she said, that is absolutely true. You are not having a situation where doctors are just signing off COVID-19 on these deaths. It's just not happening.
Yeah, Garrett, thank you. Let's see. Any other things? Geez, we just start to.
Yeah, I wanted to see if we can spend a little time with the White House report.
Yeah, let's do that.
So I have it pulled up. This is something that the White House sends out every week, and we do get it. And here we are. August 23rd is the week of this report. This interesting thing about this is going to basically show you where we're getting our gating criteria for everything. It's talking about how, everything that's gone down, how Arizona's, I'm not going to go through all of these, one by one, because it's obviously a lot to read. But basically, I'll show you here. You can see that in the White House's Health and Human Services data, you can see that we've gone into the green for our new cases. They've decreased. Our PCR tests are now where they want us to be. You can see we do have some red areas still that they're watching. This is our mobility showing, and I think I've shown this every once in a while. You can see how it's going up slightly, and this is the same data source that I use. So when I pull up my chicken scratch graph, you'll see the same thing.
We can blame the White House. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. But here, this is actually interesting. This is showing localities that are in different zones. So here you can see the Safford locality in Graham. Right now, Graham County is considered in the red. That means that the federal government is watching Graham County very closely right now. But all of our other localities, all of our CBSAs, which are the Census Bureau statistical areas, everything else is in the yellow. I don't know if they have anything in the green, but that's basically what we're looking at is they're watching Graham like a hawk right now. And then here's some data points showing our percent positives. Again, this is going to be the actual daily report. This is the day actual percent positives, not the stuff that you would find on COVID tracking, because this is stuff that feeds into the government. And you can see, you know, this is just some of the stuff they're using. It has it for every single one of these, and you can see, you know, there's these interesting spikes every once in a while. Here's the Mingus Mountain spike, and here's one in Cochise County that happened. Very interesting to see some of these massive spikes that occur from county to county that usually get washed out in the main sets of the data. And then,
if this is available for everyone to read.
I don't know, but since I'll talk to producer Josh afterwards and see if we can find it at home.
Yeah, we'll see if we can find it online or see if there's permissions to.
Yeah, so this right here, you can see new cases per 100. This is basically just a map of Arizona on all of those stats that we were just talking about. Here's a national picture, which I find interesting. One of the things I find most interesting is this page right here, which is the test positivity. I find the congruency in these county numbers to be fascinating. You can see where there's red usually crosses state bounds, and it's very close to each other. There's usually clustering going on, and the same thing with the yellow. It's typically a lot of clustering going on in these different regions. And then here, this is interesting because this shows you how our state developed these criteria. Because our state criteria of opening is a mirror image of this. Now this is more because these are different metrics, but our metric. We selected, or at least whoever put our gating together. You can see they selected this one, and I believe there's one more on here. But I'm trying to go through this quickly, so I'm not reading them immediately for everything. But yes,
that's great. We'll have to see if we can get some more information on sharing that. Even the national map that's on there, I can see my home state and my actual hometown was lit up in red, even though the rest of the state wasn't. So that's concerning to friends and family there. So we'll continue to talk about that. Were you saying that comes out every week?
Yeah, my understanding is it comes out every week. Yes.
Yeah, that's just a really helpful tool in many that we've used to track this. So we'll try to keep highlighting it. Okay, let's look ahead to this week as we wrap up. Here we are on Tuesday. And Thursday, as we talked about, those metrics will be refigured publicly, and we expect Maricopa, Pima, and Pinal County to be in the moderate range for businesses. Many will open up to 25%. And Deanna, you know what? You asked this question earlier. Do we have a graph that shows cases by occupation? No. Not yet, but I imagine that's going to be one of the things that they're talking about in the future, in particular to healthcare workers.
Oh, and I saw. If Sandy Bartlett is still on there, I remember her asking something about ASU's testing. It's way up there, but ASU doesn't give us anything, so we have no idea what ASU testing looks like.
Yeah, so they report it to the state. They just don't share it publicly, specifically with ASU numbers. Although we have been talking a lot about how ASU or how UA, I'm still saying U of A, old school, UA is sharing them, and hopefully that'll encourage ASU to do the same thing. We're running out of time. Deborah's been so patient asking about hospitals. Could you give her one or two lines on how hospitals?
Oh, yes. So I am watching one thing. I'm hoping it's a blip. I'll bring it up really quick. We did have a significant jump in inpatient hospitalizations today. It is just a single blip, but it still is a blip. You can see, or at least it's an increase. We were at 908 yesterday. We're at 999 today. That's the largest single day jump we've had in inpatient hospitalizations since the very peak of the pandemic. So, and again, it's just one day. It could be a reporting situation. We don't know yet. So I'm not even alluding to this being an issue yet. We have to watch to see if a trend develops, but it is something to at least, it's something that I'm going to be watching over the next 2 days to see if this goes back to normal or if the inpatient starts to change around. So just something to watch. Well,
an early note of the possible trends is exactly why we do this each afternoon, so that you all can be the most informed people out there when it comes to the data behind coronavirus. Deborah writes, thank you, Deborah. You're so welcome, as are all of you who've joined us on here to a really, really great discussion today. I gotta say, I enjoyed it a lot. So thank you to all of you who left so many thoughtful comments on here today. Where you can find us, as always, Garrett is on Twitter at Garrett_Archer. I'm on Twitter at Katie Raml. I'm also on Facebook at facebook.com/news from Katie on all the social devices nowadays that wear me out, but keep me going. And Garrett, you can catch our very latest coronavirus info on abc15.com/coronavirus. And as always, our crews right now are out so busy all across the city gathering news for you. We'll have the very latest at 4, 5, 6, and 10 p.m. Be safe out there, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow, same time, same place.